Hi, everyone. I am Natalie Cook, the CEO and owner of Finance Fight Club. I'm a fractional CFO, and I love helping small business owners make sense of their finances so they can do cool stuff with their money, like grow their business and pay themselves and sell their business and all sorts of other fun things. So today we're going to talk about the 5 financial mistakes that I see business owners make most often and how you can avoid them. So I've worked with over 50, maybe 75 business owners. I run a business. My husband's run a business. I know a lot of business owners in addition to the ones that I've worked with. And I've just kind of collated these 5 things as the most common financial mistakes. So I hope today that you can take away something from this that you are going to not take into your business. And if you are joining us for the first time, please like and subscribe and share this video. We are new to YouTube, and I would absolutely love all the love and comments and everything that's going to get us more views and likes and subscribes. So thanks for joining us today. So let's get back to those 5 things. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then we're going to go through one by one. So those are not having cash reserves, counting money before it's in the bank, not taking care of yourself financially, fundraising for the wrong reasons, and not understanding the ROI of debt. These things are going to help you not make these mistakes. So the first one, not having cash reserves. Oh, man, I've lived this. Like, it's hard when you are new to running a business. You just don't know how to build reserves. And it's very tough to get yourself out of a very challenging situation if you haven't built cash reserves. So this one's just painful. So let me tell you about a client. This woman I met, she actually wasn't a client. I just did a free favor for her. I met her at a conference, had a thriving business, but her factory burnt down. And she'd gotten really bad advice. She didn't have an insurance policy to cover that. And so she was trying to rebuild this business. But you know what? She didn't have any cash reserves to cover it, but she also didn't have insurance to cover it. So her cash reserves may not have covering that factory thing, but let's fast forward to a year later. She's kind of recovered. She took on pre-sale from a big order, but then she spent that money and she couldn't produce the order. So that, I don't even know what happened, but that is a tricky spot to get out of because she didn't have cash reserves. So she was using money from a client to pay other expenses. And at the end of the day, that's, grounds for probably bankruptcy. And there's not much else you can do with that. Let's talk about another client. So no cash reserves, having to put more money into the business to just get through a busy season, and then ending up pulling money out of their 401k and owing a giant tax bill. So not having cash reserves in order to cover some gaps in the business. Let's talk about why you would need cash reserves. So revenue is going to fluctuate no matter what you do. Revenue is going to go up and down. It does not just continuously go up. It might go up year over year, but in the months, it's going to be a little lumpy, depends on your business, seasonality. Things change. Like something that I like this example because I think we all kind of relate to it. But remember in COVID when everybody had plexiglass everywhere, those plexiglass people did not know that their business was going to boom in an insane amount because of this incident. They could not forecast it. And likewise, there were several businesses that couldn't forecast that they would lose all of that revenue. So if you think about that, just know there's always these things around the corner you can't prepare for. But if you have cash reserves, those problems don't become as big. So have cash reserves, save for taxes specifically. Another client I worked with had a $20,000 tax bill because she spent all of her money and then was surprised by it and had to put it on a credit card, and it took 2 years to pay off. Here's the thing. Those tax dollars are not your dollars. The very easiest thing that you can do is save for taxes. In addition to if you're on an S Corp and a W-2 salary or a C Corp, you still have to pay taxes on that, and it's not just your money. So you need to have a strategy in place to save for that. So we have a whole video on cash and how I think about cash flow, but the 3 things that you can save for when you're thinking about cash reserves are taxes. The IRS does not care if you forget to save. Emergencies, because stuff happens like COVID, injuries to a business owner, injuries to your staff, all sorts of little things that you may or may not be considering in that business plan. And then bucket 3 is revenue dips, other investments that you want to make. So when you're ready for those things, these issues are not issues. They're just, hey, we have the cash to cover it. Now, how much you need to save, watch that video on cash, but it's dependent on your business and how you want to get there. And if you can't save anything, just start putting $100 a month into a separate account. And I know there are tax people or accountants and bookkeepers that like one account. You do what works for you, but make sure that you are not pulling your savings and that you are actually saving money. Mistake number 2, counting money before it is in the bank. Now, if you run a business for more than 5 minutes, you know, especially a service-based business, when you are fresh, wide-eyed, and excited about running a service-based business, you get people that are like, yes, I'm going to pay for your service. And you're like, this money is going to come in, and you just think it's amazing. And so then you start spending as if that money exists, and then it doesn't exist. That happens to everybody if they've run a business for more than 5 minutes. So if that's you, don't feel embarrassed that it happened to me. But here's the thing. Money isn't real until it's in the bank. And sometimes it's not even real until it's in the bank because some people want refunds. So you need to be prepared for that money to just not be there until the work is delivered, until the pay has gone through, and all sorts of things. So once you can kind of figure that out, you're going to buffer and you're going to build higher revenue into your plan and higher margins into your plan, because I have signed agreements and the client come around and said, nope, just kidding. Or I have gotten money into my bank account and realized, oh, we didn't need to do that. And so just that can really inhibit a business. It will inhibit if you are fundraising and you think those investors are going to give you money, and so you start spending as if they've committed dollars. And I know from experience with other people that they have had investors be like, yep, money's on its way, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't come. And yet they've been spending as if it's there. So money is not real unless it is in the bank. And even sometimes then it's not real. So the way that you can buffer this, really, it's a psychology thing, is don't trust that money until it's in the bank and the work is delivered or that product is delivered. And know that things are going to fall through. That just happens. Okay, so mistake number 3, not taking care of yourself financially. So again, if you've run a business for more than a year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, you know that it's really easy to stop paying yourself to support the business. It's just an easy thing. Like, you treat it like a child. You're like, this business needs these things and I need to support it, but you need to support yourself. And so you need to make sure that your business is paying you what you need to live off of. Now, I am working on an ebook about owner pay. So follow along if you want to follow that and understand how we work with business owners to make sure they're getting paid what they want. But the very first thing I ask clients when I bring them on is, are you getting paid enough? Do you have enough money to live off of? Do you have a financial planner? Are you working on you and taking care of yourself? Because here's the thing, 80% of businesses are not going to sell. So if your retirement plan is to sell your business and cash out, you have an 80% chance of that not happening and a 20% chance of that happening. So you need to be saving and preparing and planning for your personal future along with your business, and your business needs to take care of that. And that's okay. That's a good thing. And likely if you're not, it's because your business margins, you just don't know what your margins are and you're not charging enough, or you have too high of expenses, or you just don't know how to put yourself back in there. So if you are struggling with that, reach out. I love helping business owners with that. We have a plan and a process and a way to do it. So think about this. If you run a business and you own a house, you got to pay that mortgage. You got to invest, and you got to take care of your kids, right? If you have children. If you don't have children and you're single and you're renting and you're living with your parents or whatever, do whatever you want with your money. But most people are adults planning for adult things, and your business needs to take care of this. Mistake number 4 is fundraising or taking on debt for the wrong reasons. Now, here's the thing. You are more likely to get a loan if your business is in good shape. You are more likely to get an investor if your business is in good shape. If you are seeking that funding because your business is tanking, you are going to make deals with the wrong people. That's the whole key takeaway. It will just destroy your business because you will take money from people that are not the right fit, and they will destroy your business, or they will fire you, or things will happen. Or like we saw in a lot in COVID is the EIDL loans. I hate those loans. When I see them, I just my heart breaks for those business owners, not because they didn't need it at the time, but now they're kind of the student loans of business, and they're stuck with them for years. And if they had built cash reserves and had taken on funding as an accelerant instead of a Band-Aid, they'd be in great shape. So fundraise to accelerate the growth that's already happening. You've already proven it. You know your margins, you know your business, you know you can get to the next level, you know your market. Do that type of fundraising. That's okay. Happy to take that on and make sure it's a plan. But when you are fundraising because you didn't prepare for the future, or you don't know your business model and all of that, sometimes you might be stuck and you might be taking out anyway. No judgment there, but you are going to put yourself in a tricky spot and it's going to be much harder to climb out of. So lastly, mistake number 5 is not understanding the ROI of debt. So this is kind of related to number 4, but if you're going to fundraise or take on debt, that has to have an ROI. You can't just say, oh, I'm just going to take on debt and then I'm going to pay it off. It's like, why are you taking it on? Is it going to increase your revenue? Are you going to invest it into marketing or equipment or something that you can't do without taking on those things? That is just a challenge to get past when you are taking it on simply for a Band-Aid. And I have seen it time and time again, and it typically ends up being a $400,000 or $500,000, maybe $1 million. And there's just a huge risk in owning that debt and not being able to pay it off. Primarily, not being able to sell your business when you're ready to sell because you have too much debt and not enough cash flow. And then the new buyers have to come and take on that debt. Or you just can never get past paying that interest because you really never have the margins to cover that debt in the first place. And lenders, they're looking at their numbers. They're not looking at your numbers. So there are some amazing lenders that are going to help you. But if you are going to take on debt, you need to know, how will this money grow my business? What is my specific plan to pay it back? Am I taking out too much? Are you using it for cash flow problems and that you're not solving those problems? Are you making a bigger, more expensive issue? Be incredibly cautious of taking on debt that puts your personal assets at risk, and never ever use debt to keep the lights on. Sometimes it happens. Business owners do that. And I get it. You're in a spot where you think this is the only way and you're just going to get out of it. And honestly, I think that's an amazing thing of the optimism that entrepreneurs have, is that I'm going to solve this, I'm going to take this on and I'm going to get through it. But it can destroy you and it can be very painful. So before you take on debt, think through that ROI. So to recap, those 5 things are: have cash reserves, don't count money before it's in the bank and signed and delivered. Don't take care of yourself financially, fundraise with the right people, and know the ROI of debt. Now, there are plenty of other mistakes that business owners make, but these are the key financial ones. And if you liked this, please read our blog post about it as well, like and subscribe. And thank you for being here today. I am Natalie with Finance Fight Club. Let's keep fighting for your financial future in your business. Thank you.